What makes a lion the king of the jungle? It's not the size. There are animals bigger. It's not the strength. Some are stronger. And it's not the speed either. The cheetah runs faster. So what is it? What makes the lion the king when it has none of the obvious advantages? It's the attitude. The lion carries itself like royalty because it believes it is. It steps forward without hesitation. It doesn't look around for validation. It doesn't question its worth. The jungle moves when the lion moves, not because the lion demands respect, but because it commands it, without a word, without a roar, just presence, just confidence, just belief. And maybe that's what's missing in your life right now. You've been strong, you've been trying, you've been pushing, but maybe you've been moving like the antelope alert, cautious, second-guessing, always looking over your shoulder. You've been quieting your voice to fit in, dimming your light to keep others comfortable. You've been holding back because somewhere along the line, the world convinced you that you're not enough, that you need to prove yourself before you take the first step. But lions don't prove. Lions just are. If you want to rise, if you want to lead, if you want to build the life you were meant for, you need to stop thinking like the prey and start thinking like the king. This world doesn't give you what you ask for politely. It gives you what you demand with your energy, with your mindset, with your actions. And the truth is, no one's going to hand it to you. You either step up and take your place, or you watch someone else do it. There is a part of you buried deep under fear, under doubt, under all the years you spent shrinking that knows you were meant for more. That voice inside you, the one that whispers when you're alone, the one that tells you to keep going, to dream bigger, to stop pretending you're satisfied with less. That's not delusion. That's your inner lion calling. And the jungle? It's waiting, not for the perfect version of you, not for the polished, fearless, flawless version, just for the bold one, the one that's willing to show up with the scars, with the nerves, with the doubt, and move anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's refusing to be ruled by it. You weren't born to live your whole life on defense. You weren't meant to hide in the shadows of other people's opinions. You were born to hunt, to chase, to lead, to roar, to own your space without apology. But here's the secret: attitude isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you choose to stand tall instead of back down. Every time you show up even when you don't feel ready. Every time you face the thing that scares you instead of running from it. That's when the lion grows. That's when the crown starts to fit. And I know it's not easy. Life will try to tame you. People will try to break you. Fear will try to silence you. But no one can stop a lion that remembers who it is. You've spent long enough waiting for the right time, the right feeling, the right sign. But kings don't wait for permission. They move, and the world follows. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of second-guessing yourself, if something deep inside you is begging for more, then keep listening. Because by the time this is over, you won't just hear the lion. You'll be it. And when that shift happens, when you stop thinking like the hunted and start walking like the hunter, everything changes. Confidence, focus, energy, results. Life bends for the bold. So don't just watch this, feel it. Let it break through the noise in your head. Let it remind you of who you are. And stay until the end, because there's something waiting for you that's stronger than motivation. It's transformation. This isn't just about feeling inspired for a moment. It's about unlocking the mindset that rewires everything. Once you tap into the lion attitude, there's no going back. So take a breath, straighten your spine, lock your eyes on what you want, and listen closely. The roar is coming, and it's yours. What makes a lion the king of the jungle? It's not the size. There are animals bigger. It's not the strength. Some are stronger. And it's not the speed either. The cheetah runs faster. So what is it? What makes the lion the king when it has none of the obvious advantages?
It's the attitude.
The lion carries itself like royalty because it believes it is. It steps forward without hesitation. It doesn't look around for validation. It doesn't question its worth. The jungle moves when the lion moves, not because the lion demands respect, but because it commands it, without a word, without a roar, just presence, just confidence, just belief. And maybe that's what's missing in your life right now. You've been strong, you've been trying, you've been pushing, but maybe you've been moving like the antelope alert, cautious, second-guessing, always looking over your shoulder. You've been quieting your voice to fit in, dimming your light to keep others comfortable. You've been holding back because somewhere along the line, the world convinced you that you're not enough, that you need to prove yourself before you take the first step. But lions don't prove. Lions just are. If you want to rise, if you want to lead, if you want to build the life you were meant for, you need to stop thinking like the prey and start thinking like the king. This world doesn't give you what you ask for politely. It gives you what you demand with your energy. with your mindset, with your actions. And the truth is, no one's going to hand it to you. You either step up and take your place, or you watch someone else do it. There is a part of you buried deep under fear, under doubt, under all the years you spent shrinking, that knows you were meant for more. That voice inside you, the one that whispers when you're alone, the one that tells you to keep going, to dream bigger, to stop pretending you're satisfied with less. That's not delusion. That's your inner lion calling. And the jungle, it's waiting, not for the perfect version of you, not for the polished, fearless, flawless version, just for the bold one, the one that's willing to show up with the scars, with the nerves, with the doubt, and move anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's refusing to be ruled by it. You weren't born to live your whole life on defense. You weren't meant to hide in the shadows of other people's opinions. You were born to hunt, to chase, to lead, to roar, to own your space without apology. But here's the secret attitude isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you choose to stand tall instead of back down. Every time you show up even when you don't feel ready. Every time you face the thing that scares you instead of running from it. That's when the lion grows. That's when the crown starts to fit. And I know it's not easy. Life will try to tame you. People will try to break you. Fear will try to silence you. But no one can stop a lion that remembers who it is. You've spent long enough waiting for the right time, the right feeling, the right sign. But kings don't wait for permission. They move, and the world follows. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of second-guessing yourself, if something deep inside you is begging for more, then keep listening. Because by the time this is over, you won't just hear the lion, you'll be it. And when that shift happens, when you stop thinking like the hunted and start walking like the hunter, everything changes. Confidence, focus, energy, results. Life bends for the bold. So don't just watch this, feel it. Let it break through the noise in your head. Let it remind you of who you are. And stay until the end, because there's something waiting for you that's stronger than motivation. It's transformation. This isn't just about feeling inspired for a moment. It's about unlocking the mindset that rewires everything. Once you tap into the lion attitude, there's no going back. So take a breath. Straighten your spine. Lock your eyes on what you want. And listen closely. The roar is coming, and it's yours. You've heard the roar. Now it's time to step into it, because knowing there's a lion inside you means nothing if you still move like a lamb. The world doesn't respond to potential. It responds to power, to presence, to certainty. And that starts not with what you have, but with what you believe. The lion's body follows its mind. It doesn't wait to feel like a king, it moves like one. It doesn't second guess. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't ask, what if I fail? It declares, this is mine, and then takes it. That's what separates those who lead from those who follow. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's belief. Fierce, unshakable, unbreakable belief in who you are, even when no one else sees it. You weren't born to play small. You weren't made to fit in. That fire in your chest, that restless energy that keeps waking you up in the middle of the night, that's not frustration, it's potential screaming to be unleashed. It's the roar trying to break through the silence. You've been carrying greatness in your bones. Now you have to own it. The lion attitude isn't about being the loudest. It's about walking into every room like you belong there, even if your hands are shaking. It's about looking your doubts in the eye and moving anyway. Because the lion knows it doesn't have to be the fastest. It just has to keep going.
With purpose?
With power. With that quiet fire that never goes out. Every time you hesitate, you hand your power away. Every time you let fear choose for you, you lose ground that was already yours. And deep down, you know it. You know there's more in you. You've seen glimpses. Moments when you didn't hold back. Moments when you acted without overthinking. When you stopped caring what people thought and just moved. That version of you, that's the real one. But somewhere along the way, life taught you to play it safe, to stay in the lines, to make yourself small so others could feel big. And it worked for a while. You blended in. You kept quiet. You did what was expected. But now you feel the weight of everything not said, everything not done. And it's heavy, isn't it? That's not failure. That's the tension between who you've been and who you're meant to become. The lion doesn't just wake up confident. It decides to be. Every single day. And that's your power too. You can choose right now to stop waiting, to stop doubting, to stop walking with your head down. There's no rule saying you have to earn your worth. You were born with it. You just forgot. Start remembering. Remember who you are when no one's watching. Remember the moments when you didn't let fear win. Remember the pain you pushed through just to get here. You didn't come this far just to stay quiet. You came to break through, to rise, to roar. And yes, there will be resistance. There will be critics. There will be moments when your knees buckle and your voice trembles, but that's part of the climb. That's how lions are forged, not in comfort, not in prey, but in pressure, in fire, in silence when no one claps and you show up anyway. Because real confidence doesn't come from being told you're great. It comes from proving to yourself again and again that you don't need validation to move. You don't need permission to lead. You don't need the perfect plan or the perfect timing or the perfect version of yourself. You need hunger, you need belief, you need boldness, and you have that. The question is, are you ready to claim it? This isn't about pretending to be fearless. It's about choosing bravery over comfort, choosing action over excuses, choosing the lion over the lamb. Because once you decide to walk like you already have the crown, the world begins to respond differently. You speak and people listen. You move and doors open. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped waiting. You started owning. And when you own who you are, the jungle makes room. So don't hesitate. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for the fire you carry. You don't owe anyone your silence. You owe yourself your roar, and if you stay with this, if you keep going, you'll feel it. That shift. That moment when fear stops leading and you take control. That moment when doubt tries to speak and your belief drowns it out. That's when the lion wakes up fully. And from that moment on, you'll never walk the same way again. Once the lion wakes up, everything changes. Because the moment you stop living from fear and start living from power, life opens up. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to people who never understood you. You stop shrinking to fit into places you were meant to outgrow. When the lion within rises, you stop playing by the rules written for someone else's story. The lion doesn't ask, am I ready? It decides. It moves. It claims what's already in its vision. That's not arrogance, it's alignment. Knowing what you want. Knowing why you want it. And refusing to settle for anything less. You don't need to be fearless to live like that. You need to be focused. Because fear will always exist. But it only leads when you let it. Focus cuts through fear like a blade. Focus says, this is mine, and keeps moving, even when the path is unclear. The lion doesn't chase every noise in the jungle. It locks eyes on the target and waits, tracks, moves with precision, then strikes. That's the level of discipline your life demands right now. Not chaos, not urgency, not running around hoping something sticks. You need direction. You need intention. You need hunger not for everything, but for the right thing. Because the lion isn't distracted. It doesn't waste energy. It doesn't panic. It studies. It stays calm. And when the moment comes, it doesn't hesitate. Most people never win because they scatter their fire. They burn for a day, then cool down. They chase quick validation, easy applause, temporary comfort. But lions don't move for applause. They move for legacy. You have to decide, are you here to impress people or impact the world? That answer changes everything. If you're here to impress, you'll keep adjusting yourself to fit other people's opinions. You'll wear the mask. You'll silence your roar. But if you're here to make an impact, to change your life, your world, your story, then you don't have time to doubt. You don't have time to delay. You focus, you lock in, and you move. Because focus builds momentum, and momentum builds belief. Every small win, every early morning, every time you show up when it's easier to stay in bed, that's the hunt. That's how the lion lives. Not in bursts, but in rhythm, in routine, in unshakable discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It's saying, I believe in the future version of me enough to show up for them today. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to greatness. It's doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's when it counts the most. That's when your inner roar gets louder. And yes, it's hard. You will have to let things go. Comfort, convenience, people who don't see what you see. But every time you walk away from what's easy, you walk toward what's powerful. You weren't made to live a life of half effort. You weren't designed for average. That's why it doesn't sit right with you. That's why no matter how much you try to settle, something inside keeps whispering, more. Not more for the sake of greed, but more because you know you're capable. More because you feel the pull. More because the jungle isn't a place for the timid, it's for the bold, the clear, the focused. So ask yourself, what are you chasing? Because if it's approval, you'll always be hungry. But if it's purpose, if it's growth, if it's becoming the strongest version of yourself, then every step matters. Every sacrifice has meaning. Every battle shapes the king you're becoming. The lion doesn't chase comfort. It chases greatness. And that mindset, that shift, that's what makes you unstoppable. When you start thinking like a lion, you stop being reactive. You stop living in survival mode. You start building, creating, leading. You move with clarity. You move with intention. You walk into the room and energy changes not because you demand it, but because you are it. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of focus, a version that doesn't second guess, doesn't stall, doesn't chase things that drain. That version is sharper, louder, clearer. And the only way to reach them is to let go of distraction and get obsessed with your direction. The lion doesn't just survive the jungle, it owns it. And so will you. Not by chance, not by waiting, not by hoping someone else shows you the way, but by locking in, by staying hungry, by cutting out the noise and tracking your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. Direction means nothing without action. You can have the vision. You can feel the fire. You can see every detail of the life you want in your mind. But until you move, nothing changes. The lion doesn't sit and dream about the hunt. It doesn't hope the prey comes to it. It takes the first step. It moves with purpose. And that's where the transformation begins. It's easy to get trapped in the idea of potential, to tell yourself you're preparing, waiting, getting ready. But preparation without action becomes procrastination in disguise. It's fear wearing a mask. The truth is, you already know enough to begin. You already have enough to start. What you lack isn't knowledge, it's movement. And this is where most people fall off. Not because they don't have the strength, not because they don't want it badly enough, but because they wait until it feels right. But action doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't wait for clarity. It doesn't wait until the fear is gone. Action is what kills the fear. Action is what creates clarity. Action is the difference between a dream and a result. If you want to think like a lion, you have to move like one, with intent, with power, with the mindset that says, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to begin. The lion doesn't worry about every step of the chase. It starts, and it adjusts on the move. You've been taught to overthink, to hesitate, to wait until everything lines up. But life doesn't reward the hesitant. It rewards the bold. The jungle won't give you guarantees, but it will give you chances. And you either step into them or you watch them disappear. Lions don't get second chances at the hunt. They go all in. You need that level of commitment, that level of focus, that level of now. Start where you are. Use what you have. Let your efforts speak louder than your excuses, because there's always going to be a reason to wait. There's always going to be something you wish was better, stronger, more polished. But lions don't wait to be ready. They decide to be ready. And the power in that decision, it's life-changing. Once you choose to stop sitting on your potential, you become dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a focused way, a grounded way. You stop fearing failure, because now you understand failure isn't the end. It's feedback. It's part of the path. The lion doesn't stop because the first attempt didn't work. It learns. It adapts. It comes back sharper, stronger, smarter. You're not here to be flawless. You're here to be relentless, and that's what separates those who talk from those who do. Lions don't announce what they're going to do. They move in silence. They act. They show. And when the moment comes, they strike. All the noise, all the doubt, it drowns under the weight of real results. You don't need to tell anyone what you're building. You just need to build it. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. You just need to prove yourself right. And you do that one move at a time. One action, one commitment, one day of showing up when everything inside you says rest, quit, hide. That's how the roar gets louder. Not from shouting louder, but from living louder, from becoming undeniable, from outworking, outlasting, and outbelieving everyone who said you couldn't. Not for revenge, not for recognition, but because you owe it to yourself to see what's on the other side of I kept going. There is power in momentum. Once you start, you become harder to stop. And that's when everything changes. That's when the inner critic quiets down. That's when the people around you start to notice the shift. That's when your confidence stops being something you try to feel and becomes something you are. Because confidence is built in the doing, in the discipline, in the proof. When you keep showing up, when you take action through discomfort, when you build evidence that you're someone who follows through your mind, starts to trust you again, your belief grows. And belief is the fuel of the lion. You're not meant to live stuck in your head. You're meant to move, to act, to lead. The jungle doesn't care about your doubts. It watches how you walk. So walk like it's already yours. Move like you're already chosen. Fight like it's already done. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to begin. Right now. Right here. And once you do, don't stop. Don't stop even when it hurts. Because the lion keeps moving through the pain. Not because it enjoys suffering, but because it understands that pain is a signal not to quit, but to grow. Pain is proof that you're stretching beyond what's comfortable. And anything worth having demands that stretch. Comfort zones don't produce greatness. They produce regret, safe choices, easy routes, Low standards, they build a life that looks fine on the surface but feels hollow on the inside. The lion doesn't settle for fine. It hunts for fulfillment. It chases the challenge. It leans into the hard things because that's where the gold is. That's where the transformation lies. And yes, there will be days when your body is tired, when your mind is loud, when the voice in your head begs you to slow down. That's the test. That's the fork in the road. The lion doesn't listen to weakness. It listens to purpose. You're not tired. You're being tested. You're not broken. You're being built. Strength is forged in resistance. Just like muscle, your mind only gets stronger when it's pushed past its limits. You will feel doubt. You will feel fear. But neither of those feelings are facts. They are thresholds. And once you break through them, you become something new. You become someone unstoppable. Persistence is your superpower, not perfection, not ease. Persistence. The refusal to quit, the discipline to keep going, even when the progress feels invisible. The lion doesn't question the process, it trusts the hunt. It knows that consistent effort compounds, that each step forward, even the smallest one, is still movement, still momentum, still power. You don't need massive leaps. You need daily fire. Show up again, and again, and again, until the process becomes who you are, until discipline becomes your default, until showing up isn't something you have to force, it's just what you do. This is how greatness is built. Not in flashes of motivation, but in quiet consistency, in unseen hours, in invisible victories. The lion doesn't need recognition to stay driven. It doesn't need applause to believe. Its confidence is internal. Its validation comes from the hunt, not the crowd. And that's the shift you have to make. Stop chasing outcomes. Chase effort. Let go of the obsession with quick results and fall in love with the grind. Because the grind is where you become undeniable. It's where you earn your edge. While others quit, you keep going. While others wait to feel ready, you act. While others doubt, you believe. That's how the lion rises to the top, by doing what others won't, by going where others hesitate, by showing up when others disappear. You weren't meant to live a life of maybes and almosts. You were built for more, built to dominate your lane, built to rise through the challenge, not hide from it. Every setback is a setup for your comeback. Every obstacle is a chance to get sharper. Every failure is fuel if you let it be, but you have to choose. Every single day. Choose power over comfort, purpose over pain, progress over perfection. The lion chooses again and again until it becomes automatic, until there's no more negotiation, until it doesn't matter how it feels, it just moves. That's what you need. That switch inside, that gear most people never touch. The one that kicks in when everyone else gives up. The one that says, I don't care how hard it is, I'm built for this. The one that silences the excuses and feeds the mission. You are not here to blend in. You're not here to settle for survival. You're here to dominate, to build, to create something with your life that makes people stop and say, how did they do it? And the answer won't be talent, it won't be luck. It will be relentless work, undeniable effort, a mindset so unshakable, nothing could knock you off your course. You already have what it takes. You've always had it. But now it's time to activate it. Time to stop looking around for permission and start giving yourself the command. You are the leader. You are the hunter. You are the storm. But only if you decide to be. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more someday. It's now. It's you. It's time. If you're waiting for the world to understand your fire before you act on it, you've already lost. The lion doesn't wait for applause before it roars. It roars because it must, because the sound is part of its nature, part of its design. And so is yours. You were not born to stay quiet about your dreams. You were not meant to tiptoe around your potential. There is power inside you right now, waiting for permission that doesn't need to come from anyone but you. The world will not hand you greatness. It won't roll out a red carpet for your vision. It will test you, push you, question you. And at every turn, you will have a choice. Do you retreat or do you rise? Do you dim your light to make others comfortable? Or do you turn it up so bright it burns through doubt? The lion rises not because it has no enemies, but because it knows who it is. It understands its nature. It doesn't fear the fight, it welcomes it. Because every challenge is confirmation. Every struggle is a sharpening stone. Every obstacle is a reminder you are still alive. You are still in it. You are still built for this. Stop underestimating the power of showing up real, raw, unshaken. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to be the most skilled in the room. You need to walk in with your back straight, your head high, and a mind locked on one outcome win. And not just win over others. Win over the weak voice inside that says you can't. That says you're not enough. That voice, that's not you. That's the residue of fear. And fear is a liar. You don't conquer fear by avoiding it. You conquer fear by facing it, staring it down, standing your ground when everything in you wants to run. That moment of stillness in the chaos, that's the lion's moment. That's when the roar rises from the gut, not as noise, but as identity, not as aggression, but as ownership. Because you own this path. You own this journey. No one else can walk it for you. No one else is responsible for your fire. That's on you. And that's the gift. You are in control. Even when the storm hits, even when the jungle is loud, even when the world tells you to shrink, to quit, to play small, you stay grounded. You stay hungry. You stay you. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch under pressure. That doesn't compromise just to fit in. That doesn't question every step. That version is already in you. But you unlock it through decision, through consistency, through pushing when it's easier to fold, through speaking life over your vision when everything around you is silent. You were never meant to live a life of explanation. You were meant to live a life of execution. Let your actions speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your results speak. The lion doesn't tell the jungle who it is. It shows it. And the same goes for you. Don't wait to be seen. Make yourself undeniable. Don't hope someone discovers your greatness. Unleash it through grit, through action, through commitment so intense that even your failures start looking like fuel. Because they are. They're not signs to stop, they're signs to sharpen. Every setback, fuel. Every loss, fuel. Every doubt thrown your way, fuel. You build the fire with everything that tried to break you, and you burn so hot that nothing can stand in your way. That's how lions lie. Not with perfect plans, not with easy roads, but with relentless hearts, with brutal focus, with eyes that don't blink when the pressure builds, with souls that refuse to quit, no matter the weight of the world. You are that. You've always been that. So act like it. Walk like it. Speak like it. Grind like it. Let the world adjust to your roar. Let the noise fade behind your action. Let the fear fade behind your belief. Let the pressure turn you into who you were always meant to be. Because you're not just here to survive the jungle, you're here to own it. Owning it means carrying the weight of your vision when no one else can see it. It means believing in your roar before the world ever hears it. The lion doesn't need validation. Its power is self-generated. Its confidence isn't borrowed, it's earned in silence. In the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments no one sees but you never forget. That's where greatness is forged in solitude, not in the spotlight. Most people will never understand the hunger. They'll call it obsession. They'll call it too much. That's because they don't know what it feels like to be consumed by purpose, to be lit up from the inside by a fire that won't let you sleep until you build something greater than yourself. That's not obsession, that's destiny. That's the lion waking up in you. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be remembered. And the truth is, legacy isn't handed out, it's earned. It's the result of showing up when others would have backed down, of staying focused when distractions scream for your attention, of giving your all when you have nothing left but will. That's the level of commitment it takes. Not just wanting success, but being married to the process that leads to it. Anyone can chase comfort, but comfort never created impact. It never raised a king. It never built an empire. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and you weren't born for ease, you were born for elevation. The lion lives in the wild because it's wired for it. It was made for resistance. It thrives in adversity because it knows how to fight. And so do you. You may not have been born with all the tools, but you were born with something better, the power to adapt. The lion isn't the fastest in the jungle. It's not the tallest, not the biggest, but it leads. It dominates, not because of size or speed, but because of mindset. The lion doesn't wait for permission. It moves with conviction, with presence, with certainty. That's what makes it king. Leadership isn't about position, it's about posture. How you carry yourself when no one is watching. How you respond when the pressure hits. How you stay true to your path even when it feels like you're walking it alone. That's what separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. And this isn't about noise. It's about discipline. Because while the world is busy talking, lions are busy executing. While others are doubting, you're doing. While others wait to feel motivated, you move because purpose doesn't rely on mood. It relies on meaning. And when you have meaning true, deep, soul-shaking meaning, you don't need to feel like it. You choose it. Discipline is love in action. It's proof that you respect your own potential enough to pursue it daily. It's not punishment, it's a promise. A promise to your future self that you will not settle, that you will not bow to weakness, that you will not live a life of what-ifs. That's what lions do. They honor the power inside them through their habits, not just their hope. Every day is a vote for the person you're becoming. And each time you get up when you want to stay down, each time you focus when you want to drift, each time you choose growth over comfort, you cast a vote for greatness. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something with relentless consistency, even when it feels small, even when it feels invisible. Lions don't question the seed because they trust the process. They know that roots grow before the tree shows. That strength is built underground. that the roar begins in silence, long before it ever shakes the world. You're closer than you think. But closeness means nothing if you stop. Proximity doesn't equal destiny. You've got to finish. You've got to push through the fog, the fatigue, the fear. That's where most people fold. But not you. Not now. Because once the lion decides, there is no turning back. There is only forward. There is only through. That's the level you rise to, not someday, but today. Not when the timing's right, but when you decide it's right. And you make it right through action, through heart, through relentless pursuit. This world will remember those who refused to be forgotten. Those who stood tall when everything tried to crush them. Those who dared to believe in their own strength when everyone else doubted. That's the legacy you're writing right now with every move you make, every breath you take, every second you choose not to quit. The lion in you is not asleep. It's awakening. And when it fully rises, everything changes. Not because the world became easier, but because you became stronger. And that strength, that unshakable force, it was always there. Now, it's time to show it.